Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into the brutal world of Shadow Slave and examining some of the most ruthless flaws our favorite characters have to endure. These are not just minor inconveniences, but they're the crippling limitations that shape their lives and struggles in the story. Shadow Slave is known for its dark and unforgiving world. The flaws its characters possess reflect that perfectly. We're going to count down the top 10 most ruthless flaws in Shadow Slave and explore the impact they have on each character. Before that, spoiler alert. If you haven't read until the chapter 2166, I suggest you discontinue this video. There are heavy spoilers ahead. Now, let's begin the countdown. Number 10. Effie's Flaw. Severe enhancement in physical needs. Starting off our list, we have Effie and her flaw, enhancement in physical needs. Now, while this might sound like a minor inconvenience, it's a constant struggle for her. Imagine having to eat 10 times more than a normal person. The cost of food alone would be a huge burden. And it's not just food. Her other physical needs like sexual needs are also amplified, which adds another layer of complexity and potential embarrassment to her life. It's a constant drain on her resources and can be a real social challenge. However, considering other flaws on the list, I have to say it is a very simple flaw. And as Effie has a physical aspect, this flaw makes so much sense. Number 9. Kai's Flaw, Burden of Truth. Next up is Kai with the Burden of Truth. In Shadow Slave, Kai is a very famous and charming celebrity, more handsome than any handsome man. Now, imagine being that popular, that admired, and yet knowing that so much of the affection you receive is based on lies. He can instantly tell when someone is lying, and he can't ignore it. He can't just choose to be blissfully unaware. This constant awareness of the lies around him, especially from people who claim to love and admire him, must be incredibly depressing and isolating. It probably makes it very difficult for him to trust anyone. For someone in his position, constantly surrounded by people which might pretend to like him and get jealous of his fame, this flaw is particularly a cruel twist of fate. Number 8. Cassie's Flaw, Blindness. Cassie's Flaw, Blindness is a significant challenge. Blindness by definition is a curse. She navigates the dangerous world of Shadow Slave without the benefit of sight, while her other senses and her awakened abilities help her compensate for it. But she is still constantly at a disadvantage. Every step she takes could become her last. Her blindness adds an extra layer of difficulty to every aspect of her life, from simple tasks to life or death battles. While, after being ascended, she can overcome her flaw with her ascended ability of sharing senses with other people. However, when alone, she is completely blind and helpless. Number 7. Neph's Flaw, Pristine Soul. Neph's Pristine Soul comes with a terrible price. Every time she uses her incredible power of divine flames, she experiences excruciating pain, like being burned alive from the inside out. This isn't just a little discomfort, it's a debilitating agony that she has to endure. But the pain isn't the only cost. With each use of her powers, she also burns away a piece of her humanity. Her very soul is on fire, and she loses her emotions, becoming more distant and detached. It's a terrifying trade-off, getting immense power at the cost of her own well-being and her capacity to feel. This forces her to carefully consider every use of her abilities, knowing the torment and emotional toll that awaits her. Number 6. Sunny's Flaw, Clear Conscience. Sunny's clear conscience forces him to be brutally honest. Just the 3 damned words. He cannot lie. Whenever a question is directed to him, his mind automatically formulates the truth in response to that question, and his flaw compels him to speak it aloud. In a world of spies and deception, this is a massive handicap. It makes him vulnerable to manipulation and prevents him from using deception as a tactic. Imagine trying to negotiate or strategize when you're incapable of lying. And it is made even worse by the fact that he has a true name, a name that could make him the slave of whoever knows it. This flaw makes the possibility of someone asking him his true name a terrifying prospect, a constant threat hanging over his head. It's not just about revealing secrets, it's about losing his very freedom. Number 5. Anvil's Flaw, Noble Sacrifice. Anvil's noble sacrifice is perhaps one of the most tragic flaws we witnessed in Shadow Slave so far. He loses whatever he cherishes. This isn't just about losing material possessions, it's about losing loved ones, friends, and everything he holds dear. This constant threat of loss forces him to emotionally detach himself, to avoid forming attachments that will only lead to heartbreak. It's a lonely and painful existence. Imagine being a most admired human being of humanity, and you don't care about it at all, just to save them from your flaw. How ironic it is. We readers called him Tyrant for being emotionless, but his love for humanity can actually destroy it. Number 4. Jest's Flaw. You're dead. Jest's Flaw is a dark twist on resurrection. She died in the nightmare and was brought back. But her soul core is broken, leaking the soul essence. To survive, she has to kill other creatures to replenish her soul essence. It's a brutal and macabre dependency. She's trapped in a cycle of death, constantly killing monsters, just to stay alive. The reminder of her leaking soul core, that she's living on borrowed time, must be a heavy burden. Also, she cannot live a normal life anymore. Her existence is also a flaw to nature itself, thus, she cannot bear children. Jest's Flaw might seem like a boon to some people, but it is actually a legit curse of becoming an undead. Number 3. Castor's Flaw. Burning Life. Castor's burning life is a terrifying curse disguised as a power. Every time he uses his aspect, he shortens his lifespan. He physically ages, his body deteriorating with each use. It's a constant race against time. He has to weigh the benefits of using his power against the cost of his own life. It's a grim reminder of mortality and a constant pressure to conserve his remaining time. It was not a surprise that Castor couldn't outlive his flaw. In a world of Shadow Slave, where one has to face nightmares and nightmare creatures every day, his flaw was like a time bomb on his back. Number 2. Jest's Flaw. You cannot use enchanted items. Jest's inability to use enchanted items is a massive disadvantage. In the world of Shadow Slave, memories and enchanted items are essential tools for survival and combat. They provide crucial buffs, weapons, and defenses. Jest is denied access to all those magical items. He's forced to rely solely on his own skills and abilities, putting him at a severe disadvantage against opponents who have access to these powerful memories and tools. It is truly a miracle how Jest survived without using a single memory or charm. It is also funny that Jest is from the first generation of Awakened, and for all these years, nobody noticed his flaw. Number 1. Rain's Flaw. Benevolent Soul. Those 3 damned words again. You cannot kill. In my opinion, it is the most ruthless and unfair flaw of all. Rain is a soldier, highly skilled with weapons and archery. Perhaps a true warrior. Imagine being that capable, that trained, and yet, in a world where survival often depends on killing, being incapable of taking a life. It's a cruel irony. Her skill and training are almost rendered useless by this one crippling limitation. It forces Rain into impossible situations, making her completely reliant on others and constantly putting her in danger. She has the potential to be a formidable force, but her benevolent soul prevents her from unleashing it. It's a truly diabolical flaw, and it makes her struggles all the more compelling. For any soldier and warrior, this flaw feels too severe to be a flaw, and more like a death sentence. So, there you have it, a ranking of the most ruthless flaws in Shadow Slave. What do you think? Do you agree with my list? Let me know in the comments below. If you want a new video on any Shadow Slave topic for understanding or for discussion, do comment below. I will try my best to make it. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more such content. Take care until we meet again.